Dankjewel, Niels. That's it, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor. I have fallen in love with the Netherlands and with this beautiful city, Utrecht. I absolutely love it. And I think the highlight has been getting to watch over the last 2 days some of the amazing uses of our technology here in the Netherlands. I know that I couldn't understand all of the words that I was hearing. Well, first of all, AI is quite good at translating on the fly languages, so that was a really great use. But I could tell that there is some absolutely incredible work being done here by the GIS community in the Netherlands, and it's been really exciting to see. This morning, I want to talk more broadly about spatial analysis, the use of AI in our work as spatial data scientists, and this immense power and responsibility that we have in our hands. So taking a step back, GIS, or as I have learned, we say here, GIS, has always been about creating this really accurate and useful model of our world, bringing together disparate data using location so that we can model all of these interconnected pieces, the environmental characteristics, the economic characteristics, our social characteristics. And analysis is really about being able to ask that model questions so that we can understand what is and what will be, or what could be. Now, we've already seen this morning some really exciting AI assistants that we've brought into our GIS, and we are really excited about the ways that they're going to improve your efficiency and also bring GIS to more people. But how do these assistants impact and play a role in spatial analysis? And what impact will they have on us as the experts in our field as they get better and better at answering spatial analysis questions? Well, I would argue that that very much depends on the complexity of the questions that we're asking. Now, there are a set of questions that are a really good fit for AI assistants. These are questions that have verifiable, objective answers. You can think of these often falling into the bucket of a spatial query. Things like how many parcels fall within the flood zone, or how many people live within a 15-minute drive of a potential new store location. Or if you're lucky enough to be opening a store in Utrecht, it might be more appropriate to do a 15-minute bike time. Now, these are questions that have a very clear answer, and I would bet that most of us would agree that if more people in our organizations and in our communities could answer these questions without us, we'd be kind of thrilled. We'd be able to work on other things than counting the number of parcels in a flood zone. Things like the more nuanced, complex spatial analysis questions. These are ambiguous and subjective, and they have a range of possible answers. These are questions like, how will climate change impact how and where we can grow certain crops? Or where's the optimal place to site a new healthcare facility? Now, if we take the healthcare facility example, the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, what does optimal mean? Is optimal us minimizing the cost of the new healthcare facility? Is optimal where we serve the most disadvantaged people in our community? Maybe it's some other factor entirely. It's really about being able to dig in and understand those factors. It's very much an art and a science. Now, these big complex questions also happen to be some of the most important questions of our time. And they are where GIS shines, when the stakes are high. That model that we've created, those models that we create, really enable us to answer these questions in ways that would otherwise be incomplete or in many cases, impossible. So we really have to get into the the habit of being able to ask the kinds of questions of these models. Now, this is also where spatial thinking really shines. This ability that we have to understand those models and ask the right questions. It makes us, the GIS community, an absolutely critical part of any team that's solving these big problems. Now, for one thing, the majority of these questions, the majority of these problems have some sort of spatial component. And despite what perhaps a more traditional data scientist might think, that means more than just an XY coordinate, right? It's proximity and spatial relationships. It's the language of geography that we all speak. Now, spatial thinking is also inherently interdisciplinary. We learn GIS and geography, and many of us are drawn to this field because of how interdisciplinary it is, because we know that it becomes a lens that we can use to approach problems across disciplines, across fields. And I think this room is evidence of that. Just think about the diversity of application areas and industries that you all come from. And I think that one of the things that we need to do is really lean in to and work on building up these collaborations that we have both within our organizations and between our organizations. Because one of the things that we're really great at as geographers and as the GIS community is bringing these different disciplines together, using that model as a common language. Now, we also have one more superpower, and that's maps. Maps have an incredible ability to take really complex scientific concepts, really abstract concepts, to communicate really sophisticated analytical results in ways that feel personal, because everybody can see themselves on a map. And so this ability that we have to creatively and empathetically tell stories and communicate complex concepts really allows us to build knowledge and drive action in ways that very few other tools and information products can. So ultimately, will AI make our work more efficient? Yes, it will. It absolutely will. And we've shown some really exciting AI assistants already that I would definitely encourage you to try, get used to kind of thinking about how you ask those questions, and please provide us feedback. Now, will those AI assistants be answering really complex, important spatial analysis questions? Not without you. I was just looking on LinkedIn and stumbled upon a post from a man named Andrew Ng. He's one of the kind of most famous AI engineers, computer scientists on Time's 100 top AI scientists list. And he was talking about a course that he was working on, generative AI for everyone. And he was talking about how he wanted to build AI art as part of this course. And he was prompting the AI model to create this art, and he was failing miserably. It was all ugly or not at all what he was expecting. He just couldn't figure out how to make it work. This is one of the best AI engineers in the world, right? So what did he do? He hired an artist, an artist who understood art history and spoke the language of art. What that artist then was able to do is effectively communicate, using the right language, the kind of art that he wanted to build, right? And so he was able to take the expertise, he needed the expertise from someone who spoke that language in order to get that model to do what he really wanted it to do. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be asking those questions. So really, if there's one thing that I would kind of leave you with, it would be that we need to sharpen these skills. It's about asking the right questions. Because the reality is, okay, so maybe we won't be pushing as many buttons. I don't know about you, but my valuable contributions in any place I've ever worked have never been about my ability to push a button, right? Or to find the button in an app. No, it's about how I think through problems. It's about how I can see that big problem and break it down into the little pieces that I need to break it down into to actually move towards answers. It's about my unwillingness to accept the first answer that I get, which is never the whole answer, right? It's about how we learn and iterate and collaborate. So that is the skill that we're going to be bringing to the table. Now, I know that the impact that AI will have on our work and our careers is uncertain and, maybe even a little bit scary. But I personally have no doubt whatsoever that the skills that we have in thinking spatially, in bringing people from disciplines together, in communicating really effectively, these are all of the ways that we're going to find ourselves at the center of some of the most important work that we've ever done. And the stakes are really high. The good news is, for me at least, that I can't think of anyone that I would trust more with this kind of power and responsibility than the GIS community. So I'm really excited for the future, if not, trepidatious. But it's a really exciting time, and it's time for us to kind of sharpen those skills, embrace the value that we're bringing to these problems, and kind of create that future that we want to see. So I'm just so grateful to have been here, and I learned one other word which feels very appropriate in this room, and I know you all know the word I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it wrong, but I feel so much gezellig right now with all of you. I just have loved my time here, and I hope I get a chance to meet more of you throughout the rest of the day. Dank jullie wel.